We'll call to order the City of Douglasville City Council regular meeting for tonight, which is February the 1st. Our first order of business will have our invocation by Mr. Raji Zeed, President of the Universal Society of Hinduism, and then our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by our council member, Dr. LaShondra Damley. Please stand for the invocation.
Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Om Bhurvubhah Svah Tat Saviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. We meditate on the transcendental glory of the Deity Supreme, who is inside the heart of the earth, inside the life of the sky, and inside the soul of the heaven. May he stimulate and illuminate our minds. Astoma Sadgamya Tamsoma Jyotirgamya Mrityormamratam Gamya. Lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, lead us from death to immortality. Tasmada Saktastatam Karyam Karma Samachara Sakto Charan Karma Parma Panoti Purusha Karma Nevahi Samsiddhi Mastita Jankadya Loka Sangreha Meva Pi Sampa Shankar Tumra Hasi. Strive constantly to serve the welfare of the world. By devotion to selfless, one attains the supreme goal of life. Do your work with the welfare of others always in mind. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. Om. Thank you.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Dr. LaShondra Damley, for leading us in the pledge, and Mr. Zeed for leading us in our invocation. I'd like to welcome you to the Douglasville City Council regular meeting. Tonight is a meeting where we are going to vote on the items that were discussed last Thursday. Tonight's meeting is being conducted in whole or in part by teleconference. Some of our elected officials are with the agenda items, and those participating may be on Zoom, as you have already heard, Zoom software, and they're not in present, but when I call your name, please respond if you are here for the city council members. City Council Member Mayor Pro Tem Terry Miller, are you present?
I am present, Madam Mayor. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And Councilmember Howard Estes, are you present?
Yes, ma'am, I am here. Thank you.
Very good. Councilmember Nicole Miller. Okay, so we will move on. This is an open meeting of the Douglasville Mayor and City Council. It is being conducted by teleconference consistent with the official code of Georgia, annotated section 50-14-1G. Due to emergency conditions involving public safety in order to mitigate the transmission of the coronavirus and to reduce the risk of COVID-19 illness. That code section, which you can find posted with agenda materials for this meeting, allows local governments to meet in whole or in part by teleconference in the event of an emergency, so long as means are afforded for the public to have simultaneous access to the teleconference meeting. For this meeting, we are convening partially by Zoom software, as shown on the city's website, describing how the public may join, which is via YouTube media platform. Do we have anyone that is participating? Assistant City Manager for our meeting on this? We do? Okay, thank you very much. So at the appropriate time, we'll have those persons come on and identify themselves, and the public is to be aware that for applicants and participants to be advised that this meeting will allow public comments as well. Even if members of the public do not provide comments, the participants are advised that people may be listening who do not provide public comments, and listeners are required to identify themselves, but everyone please know that this meeting is being recorded. Now, this is a voting meeting. We did have items that we discussed last week, and so it'll go a little bit differently than the meeting that we had on Thursday. And I'll give those requirements and some of the protocol in which we'll follow, and we'll resume the meeting after I've spoken with the agenda that is printed either on the screen or outside on the table. This is a regular meeting of the council where agenda items are presented for discussion, and the action is going to be taken tonight. If the business that any citizen wishes to speak on is not listed as an agenda item, there will be ample time under the agenda item comments from citizens and delegates for you to discuss any matters related to pending or potential city business. You have 5 minutes to do that. I'll ask that you please keep your comments and presentations on a professional level, dealing with the facts that are important for this governing body to make our decisions. Only one person speaking at a time. Please do not disrupt the order of the meeting by having conversations with the audience or clapping or any of those things that you might, activities you might do. If you have a cell phone or electronic device, please put those in silent mode or turn those social media platforms off so that they will not be disruptive during the meeting. We do have 2 citizens that are going to participate via social media. So the agenda items will be handled as the following. The committee chairperson will read the agenda item. After that, that committee chairperson will ask for comments or statements in the public hearing from the audience. There's a maximum of 20 minutes for those to speak in favor and 20 minutes for those in opposition, and each person has 5 minutes to speak. Again, this is not a question and answer, and if you've already presented on last Thursday, it's just for clarifying or new information that you can come forward and give to us. Otherwise, we've already taken that information and that has been helping us to make our decision this evening. This meeting is not, again, a question or answer. Address all of your comments to the chair, and the chairperson will run that committee. There is, if you'd like to speak to us, there's a form you should have filled out, or again, I know we have 2 persons online that have already filled out information to give to the assistant city clerk or assistant city manager. And if you have materials that's printed and you like to hand those materials to us, we'll be more than happy to receive those materials, but they should go through any printed material to our city clerk, Ms. Vicki Acker, who is in the rear. So that's all of the information that we have. Where again, this is going to be a little different from last week. If you were here, we'll read the agenda item, the chair, and he or she will call for a motion. We'll vote on it and continue to move. But if it's a public hearing and they open up the floor for comments, you have 5 minutes to come forward and bring any new information to the table. So having said all of that, we'll go now, after that, those were the announcements and presentations, to number 5, which is minutes of approval. So minutes of the legislative work session of January 14th, 2021, and the regular meeting of January 19th, 2021. I open the floor for a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Thank you so much, Councilman Adams. I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you so much, Councilman Davis. It's been properly moved and second to approve the minutes of the legislative work session of January 14th, 2021, and the regular meeting of January the 19th, 2021. Do I have any comments or questions from council members as it relates to the minutes? Thank you. I don't see any. All those in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
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 Thank you. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The minutes are unanimously approved, and I did hear from council members, Mayor Pro Tem and Councilmember Estes. Now I open the floor for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Thank you so much, Councilmember Dr. LaShawn Danley. I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you so much, Councilman Adams. It's been properly moved and second to approve the consent agenda as presented. It was moved by Councilmember Dr. LaShawn Danley and approved by seconded by Councilmember Adams. Do I have any questions or comments or any corrections as for the consent agenda from council members? Thank you. I don't see any. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
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 Thank you so much, Councilmember Estes and Mayor Pro Tem. So it's been properly moved in second. We don't have any questions. All those are in favor of yes, those nay. We don't have any nays. Okay, the consent agenda is unanimously approved. Now we'll move on to item number 7, which is Economic Development Committee, and that's chaired by Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business under the Economic Development Committee at this time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. We'll move on to item number 7, which is Finance Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Mark Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We
You're
have
welcome.
one item tonight.
Mhm.
It's authorize the mayor to sign a construction agreement with Integrated Construction and Nobility Incorporated for the Wheeling Workers Park renovation project. That's item 21-030.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Thompson is here, I believe, to answer any additional questions or provide other information to us. Mr. Thompson.
Good afternoon, Marcus Thompson, Project Manager, 6701 Church Street.
Mhm.
Just want to point out that we have uploaded the renderings of the site plan towards the end of the attachments, just for a refresher
Okay.
of the layout of everything.
Mhm.
My computer is trying to download that now or update it. So are there anyone that has any questions or comments concerning the item that we've discussed on Thursday? I believe we did get the corrected amounts of each of the bids uploaded on Thursday night. My computer's not pulling up the item, but it is correct. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
The rendering will there be restroom facilities?
Yes,
Okay, I just didn't see it there.
should be north of the site towards Thompson Street, further towards Thompson Street.
Okay, that's all the questions I have.
South.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Other questions, comments?
It's 252 pages.
Oh, no, the should be separate towards the back.
Okay.
Last page is the site plan or rendering.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
Anyone have any questions, comments? I know there's been a lot of time and a lot of effort gone into it. I'm glad to see this coming to fruition.
Yes, sir.
If there is none, I'll make a motion that we approve this item 21-030.
Thank you so much. That was a hearty second. So it's been properly moved in second. Moved by the chair, Councilmember Adams, and seconded by Councilmember Watts, who is the excited about this because he's Recreation, Culture, and Tourism Chair. So, so do we have any questions or comments from council members outside of Councilmember Dr. Burdanley? Thank you. Not seeing any. All of those in favor of approving this item, please say aye.
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 Thank you very much, gentlemen. So all those that not say nay, I think we have everyone. The ayes have it. Item 21-030 is unanimously approved.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. That's all we have tonight under finance.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. We'll move on to Housing and Community Affairs Committee, and that's chaired by Councilmember Dr. LaShawn Burdanley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business in Housing and Community Affairs tonight.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Councilmember Burdanley. Thank you, Mr. Landrum and Mr. Thompson as well. I see you all leaving the staff. Thank you so much for the information on the last item. All right, we'll move on to item number 10, which is Legislative and Intergovernmental Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Samuel Davis.
No business at this time, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, sir. Personnel Organization Committee. Thank you. That is chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business tonight in Personnel Organization.
Thank you so much, Councilman Watts. Planning and Development Committee, and that's chaired by Councilmember Mark Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Planning and Development has one item. Consider a request for final plat approval for the purpose of subdividing into 19 lots for 10.575 acres at Gatesville Parkway in land lot 637, District 1, Section 3, Parcel 1, and land lot 636, District 1, Section 3, Parcel 4. Application by Michelle McCauley of LaCroix Engineering. Ms. Williams, you have other information for us.
Nothing new to add. Patrice Williams, Community Development Director, 6701 Church Street. At this time, we ask that no action be taken at the request of the applicant.
Yes, the applicant has requested it be pulled. Is that
Right.
correct?
That is
Okay,
correct.
so we will take no action on that item tonight, and that's all that we have under Planning and Development. Thank you, Ms. Williams.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman and Ms. Williams. We appreciate that. We have Public Improvement and Beautification Committee, the Vice Chair. I'll just ask Councilman Adams to take that committee.
No business tonight, Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much, sir. Public Relations Committee, that's chaired by Councilmember Howard Estes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. PR Committee has no business this evening.
Thank you, sir. Public Safety Committee, that's chaired by Councilmember Samuel Davis.
Yes, ma'am. I have one item. Item A, hold a public hearing to consider a request for alcoholic beverages license for the on-premises sale and consumption of wine and malt beverage at the spiritual liquor at the following establishment: Licensed Allure Lounge LLC, DBA Allure Lounge, location 7090 Concourse Parkway, Suite B. Proposed agent outlet manager Stephanie Harris. Required fees have been paid into the finance department. Would the applicant please come down, and I'm gonna call on, place your name and for the record.
Stephanie Harris, 790 Concourse Parkway, Suite B, Douglasville, Georgia.
Thank you. I'm gonna call on Miss Callan to speak before.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Karen Callan, 6695 Church Street, Finance Director. We have an unusual situation this evening, and I have not even had a chance to update the applicant, Ms. Harris. It's so recent this afternoon, but Community Development has brought something to our attention, and we have Mike Mettler, the building official, that will come up and explain. And I recommend that Ms. Harris and Mr. Mettler get together after this item so that they can talk about next steps and how to resolve the issue.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Mettler.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Michael Mettler, building official, 6695 Church Street, Douglasville, Georgia, 30134. I had an opportunity earlier this evening to talk to the applicant, Mr. Harris, who is occupying this space. Our records, as I explained to him, showed that an addition was made at this location, which is at the time was Atlantic Buffet. And they built an addition for 2,400 square feet for a banquet hall. And they proceeded to install a wet bar and bathrooms so they could have larger gatherings of people in a private setting where it didn't interrupt their main stay, which was a buffet. Our records indicated that there was only one other permit that was issued after that point, which was the gas line. And there was also a grease hood that was to be installed. I inspected the gas line and it was approved. And the grease hood never had any inspections. However, Mr. Harris indicated that the fire marshal had gone out and performed the necessary tests. I have, in our discussion, I told him that it would be of the city's best interest in his for me to come visit the site. And we've made arrangements for 10 o'clock tomorrow for me to inspect this location.
Okay, thank you. For Mr. Harris, my recommendation is for you and Ms. Mettler to get together afterwards, but I'm going to recommend to table this item to February 11th and February 15th to the next round of council meetings.
Okay, I do have documentation where the hood was inspected and all my paperwork with me at this time. So,
you have to get with Mr. Mettler.
Okay.
And like I said, the next round will be February 11th.
Okay.
And February 15th.
Okay.
Okay. Thank y'all for coming out. That's all I have, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, so you have a motion to table the item 21-021 until the meetings of February 11th. And what's the other one? The 15th, the day after Valentine's. So I have a motion to table. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you so much, Councilman Adams. It's been properly moved in second to table item 21-021 until the meetings of February 11th and February 15th, 2021. Do we have any questions, additional questions or comments from council members? I do have a quick comment, Mr. Mettler. How did we miss not having the inspection for this facility? Do you mind please coming back to the microphone? How long have they been there and the addition been done and having the grease trap done, but not the, or the line, the water line and not the, or gas line and not the grease trap?
Right.
How long have they been there?
At this location, we have one gas meter and one electric meter, which indicates that it's a standalone business there. Someplace along the line, the interior double doors that connected the restaurant lobby and the banquet hall lobby had been eliminated, and an exterior door was put in. No permits were done for that. I am not sure how the lease arrangement is going to be affected by only having one gas meter and one electric meter with two separate businesses operating out of the same building.
So when the addition was done from the Atlantic buffet to this facility, we weren't aware of it, or how did the permitting, you said permits were issued?
No, ma'am. We issued permits for the expansion for the banquet hall.
Okay.
And we issued a not building permit, but a mechanical permit for an extension of a gas line and a hood system to go over gas-fired equipment. The gas line was inspected. However, the hood was installed. No requests for inspections were made by the contractor. However, the fire department was contacted to do these inspections. Now, the city does have some elements of oversight for hood systems in a wood structure. And whereas the fire marshal's responsibilities are limited solely to the tightness of the duct system to make sure that hot gases and fumes don't leak out into the building. But there is separation from wood framing materials and the duct system that goes through the roof, which was not inspected.
Okay. So I appreciate that. It's trying to give me a holistic picture of everything so I have a better understanding of why it's required. I'm just not still understanding how it happened, that it was not inspected, and what's our loophole so that this won't occur in the future. Did they not have a permit to have I know the fire marshal has done the county portion, but if the city has requirements as well, what happened? Why didn't we do that? And how long has this business been there without having that hood or that fire portion at grease trap inspected?
The Allure establishment, lounge, is just now moving in. Okay. And the division of the building was never reported to the city.
Okay.
Now, I will tell you this, that I approved their business license, and it was because I look at buildings, and if there is a prior occupancy that was a restaurant, I automatically approve it unless they have some indication that they are going to do some extensive remodeling. So I rubber stamped that one. And so it's one of those things in hindsight, it would have behooved me to have gone out and done a separate investigation other than the fire marshal.
Yes, sir. And I understand COVID is a little different and things have been happening, and last year it could have slipped through. I just don't want it in the future for applicants to pay their money. We, advertise, have them come out, the council hear everything, and then we have to table their request for another month. So if we can kind of sew up any of those loopholes, I guess, to make it more efficient.
I will be more diligent in the future when something that doesn't necessarily appear to be what it is. And this is, I've lived with this building now since 2009. So, yes, and it's still a restaurant. So that's why I just didn't think twice.
It's kind of like a restaurant would have a private area for people to have, a private dinner or something. We didn't realize it was an entire new business because we weren't informed about that until now.
That's my fault for that.
So it's okay. You're a great guy, Mr. Bettler. I'm not trying to get on you. I'm just trying to understand better so that in the future, we don't have this happen again.
Yes, ma'am.
And for someone else to come in and think that everything is in line. And he says he has his paperwork and we have requirements and we just crossed like ships in the night and didn't meet at this point. We have any questions from council members? Yes, sir. Councilman Adams.
Mr. Davis, if I might just interject something here and ask Mr. Mettler a question.
Yes.
So Mr. Mettler, basically what's happened is that the owner of the property, being Atlantic Buffet, had done these improvements, part of which were without a permit. but did not inform the tenant that had been done.
That is correct.
Okay, and did not request the necessary inspections of those permits to the city.
That is correct.
So that is of no fault to anyone, honestly, except for Atlantic Buffet. To be quite frank about it. And it sounds as though our tenant, our new potential lessee here of Atlantic Buffet, is the victim in this particular case. And we do need to let them know, and I feel that we need to apologize to them, but it's not something that you would have known about if you had not been requested an inspection. And the fire marshal's inspection would have been in addition to the inspection that the city would have done.
That is correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I understand what's occurred here. And as I said, I wasn't aware that there had been an expansion, other than I had seen some construction going on, but I did not know they had made changes to the building without those being inspected and approved.
That is correct.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
I remember when they came for the inspection, came to the city to get the inspection. And are you saying that they have a hood, a vented hood, and angle system?
That is correct.
They do have a hood and an angle system from the fire department.
We had actual permits, but no inspections took place by the city.
So now they just need inspections?
Not necessarily. Mr. Harris has inspection reports from the fire marshal, which I will look over when I go to inspect the property tomorrow.
Okay.
Mr. Davis, is there any way that we could try to facilitate their occupancy early? And I don't know that we could have a motion and a second and a vote contingent upon Mr. Mettler's inspection. I don't know that our city attorney would suggest that we do that. Ms. Littlefield? It's okay. I'm trying to accommodate. The new tenant has I'm assuming has signed a lease, done what they're supposed to do, and now we find out in the 11th hour that they are not going to be able to go forward, and I understand that that can cause a problem between now and February the 11th. So I'm just asking, is there a way that we could vote on their application contingent upon Mr. Mettler's inspection tomorrow to approve, so that they don't have to wait another month? If they've done everything they're supposed to do, they basically are victims here.
Right.
I believe their business license has been approved as an establishment. However, what is being held up is now their alcoholic beverage license.
Right.
So they can open and serve food
without alcohol
and accommodate clients, but they just can't serve alcohol at this point.
The answer to that is no.
No.
So they would have to wait until the 11th?
For alcohol.
I mean, you're going to inspect tomorrow?
I am going to inspect tomorrow, but their business can open because they have a business license.
Right. So after you inspect, then they would be able to sell alcohol. Is that correct?
No.
No.
Not until we approve that alcohol license.
Oh, the alcohol license.
And Ms. Littlefield said we cannot do the recommendation that Councilman Adams said to do, pass it tonight contingent upon Mr. Mettler's inspection.
Right. Sorry, that's very unfortunate.
We apologize to Mr. Harrison. And Mrs. Harris. All right, so.
Madam Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to, Ms. Callan, can you come, was there alcohol permit issued to the establishment in 2020?
Atlantic Buffet.
I would have to look that up to see, but if they're trying to get an alcohol license right now, I don't think so. And I don't remember who was in that building before them.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's all I have, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Ms. Callan.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, staff, and thank you, Mr. Mettler, for giving us an explanation. City Manager, did you have anything to add?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, we do have to vote on tabling. So we had a motion from the chair. Do we have a second? And you second. Yes, sir. And Councilman Adams second. So it's been properly moved in second to table item 21-021 to the meetings of February 11th and the 15th. Do we have any additional comments from city council members? Thank you. Not seeing any. All those in favor of tabling this item, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you. Opposed, nay? The ayes have it unanimously. Item 21-021 is tabled to the meetings of February 11th and February 15th. And we apologize again for the inconvenience. Is that all you? You're welcome. Thank you, Councilman Adams. We'll move on, Councilman Davis. We'll move on to number 16, which is Recreation, Culture, and Tourism Committee, and that's chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business tonight in Recreation, Culture, and Tourism.
Thank you, Coach. We'll move on to Technology Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business under the Technology Committee at this time.
Thank you, sir. We'll move on to Transportation Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Dr. LaShawn Burdanley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Transportation Committee has no items tonight.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Certainly. Do we have any other business to come before council members tonight from council members for the body? Thank you. I just have one thing. I have a thank you card that was given to us from Miss Trina Courtney Smith. It says, Mayor, City Council members, and employees of the City of Douglasville, thank you so much for the outpouring of kindness and love. It will never be forgotten. We hope you know we appreciate everything you've done to help us in the loss of our family. And it's from Mr. Doug Smith's family, his wife. So thank you to the council members. We do have other condolences that are out for Mr. Hudson's family and Dr. Tammy Robinson's family. So we just saddened when we lose people in our community, and we appreciate that thank you card. Do we have any other business from council members? Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem, you have anything?
Madam Mayor, I do not have anything else at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Estes?
Nothing at this time. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other business from council members who are present? Thank you. I don't see any. Then we'll move on to our updates from city staff. Our city attorney, Mr. Joel Dotson.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much, sir. Chief Assistant City Attorney, Ms. Susan Littlefield.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Our Chief of Police, Chief Sparks, I know you have a food drive or something coming up, don't you?
Yes, we have a food drive and a virtual town hall meeting on February the 9th.
Okay.
We'll be talking about our use of force policy and our end of the year report, which the end of the year report can be looked at on our Facebook page. The food drive is February the 16th from 12:30 p.m. until we give out all the food. That will be at the police department.
Yes, sir. So the food drive is the 16th at 12:30 until what time, Chief?
Till we're done.
Until you're done. So it starts at 12:30, and that's the food drive at the municipal facility on Fairburn Road. And the 9th is a town hall meeting and the end of the year report. And then the 9th, what time is it? It's going to be on Facebook. Is it going to be simultaneous, or you are going to post it later?
The end of the year report is on the Facebook page now. So
okay.
We put it out there for the citizens can review it.
Yes, sir.
And then on the 9th, from 7 to 8 p.m.
Yes, sir.
You can call in with the questions concerning
the
end of the year report.
Very good. So the end of the year report is on Facebook now. Citizens can go to the Facebook page of the Douglasville Police Department and look at that report and come at on the 9th from 7 to 8 and ask any questions that they may have from you, command staff, and all of our excellent officers. Correct?
Yes, ma'am. Correct.
Thank you so much, sir. You have anything else?
No, that's it.
Thank you, Chief. Our city manager, Ms. Marcia Hampton.
Yes, ma'am. Just a couple of things. First, I'll start off. Your planning session is scheduled for this Thursday and Friday at the police department's community room, as well as virtually for those who will not need to meet, who will not want to meet in person. If you all have a change in schedule or preference, if you would please get with the mayor after this meeting so we staff can make adjustments. But we are planning for a hybrid meeting very similar to what we do for council meeting. Both Chelsea Jackson and the IT department have prepared for that, as well as vendors and guests that we have coming in to make presentations for you all. Everything will be electronic. We won't be handing out any paper. We will have the items loaded up on your attachment. So staff is finalizing presentations this week. Some of you, I know we've asked to meet with prior to make certain we finalize those presentations for you on Thursday. Mayor Shaw with the Carl Vinson Institute of Government should have reached out to you all. If she hasn't, she will, so she can finalize her information, and she will be here in person on Thursday to conduct the planning session. So if anyone has any questions or anything they want staff to follow up on, we will do so prior to your planning session. And then finally, you all may have received an email from several concerned citizens dealing with Chicago Park and America's Home Place for Rent. I'm going to ask Patrice to come up just to summarize their major concern. And then I'm also going to ask legal to respond to you all for what you can do and what you cannot do in this situation based on what the citizens are asking of you in this in their emails as they address their concerns about what's happening in their neighborhood.
Okay. As Ms. Hampton stated, we have heard from some residents, particularly one of our planning commission members. They are concerned regarding the houses being built to rent and not to sell. They've asked that they've done some research. They see where the issues happening in Stockbridge and maybe in other communities. And so they've asked us to do to place a moratorium on the builder. Mr. Matler's here tonight if you have any questions for him as well, but I know you adopted or passed the final plat for phase 4. So there are quite a few phases for Chicago Park, and this was adopted back in December, more recently. So I did talk to Ms. Littlefield, and she gave me some advice of what to say, but I'll just defer to you, Ms. Littlefield.
Sure. Rental is a permitted use for residential property, and governments don't regulate that. They are starting to regulate short-term rentals, but have not had a lot of success with that so far. The courts have not accepted it well. They've called most of the ordinances in place too vague, but they've not said that we can't regulate short-term rentals. But long-term rentals is a permitted use that governments don't regulate. Further, once we get past the zoning phase, your discretion is gone with regard to that sort of thing. Those are vested rights that the developer has to use his property in a way that's consistent with your ordinance. And we don't impose development moratoria. That would be a taking for which he would sue you and for which you would have to pay money for taking away some of his rights, and he'd still get to use the property in that fashion. I understand that that's a concern. Now, one of the things that we did recently that may hold up in a different situation in the future is that you had a developer of townhouses who volunteered to place covenants on his property that said that only a certain portion could be used for rental. Now, you did that and 30 days passed, and presumably there was no lawsuit, so presumably that's valid now. I've not seen a challenge to that, but that is something perhaps you could continue to do in the future. Other governments are doing that. We're way past that here, and you can't do a development moratorium if you disapprove of the property being used for rental purposes.
Wow. Okay.
Question.
Ms. Littlefield. Yes, sir, Councilman Adams.
Ms. Littlefield or Ms. Williams, are there any HOA requirements or anything in the HOA documents that you know of or that we're aware of that would not allow rental in the neighborhood? Because I think that would be their remedy, would it not?
Well, we have seen conversation regarding the HOA, and at this point, I think they're saying that the HOA is being ran by American Home Rental because I think they have the majority of the property at this point. So that's our only knowledge as it relates to the HOA.
But we've never been involved unless it was something up front that was voluntary where we limited whether or not someone could rent or sell the property.
No, sir. And even after we asked for those covenants, we wouldn't be the entity enforcing them.
Correct. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Adams. Any other comments from council members? You've made everything very clear.
Thank you.
Ms. Littlefield, thank you so much. Yes, ma'am.
So, Madam Mayor, what I will do is just send a email response to those individuals with guidance from legal on what your legal authority is to intervene in that situation, so that anytime in the future that we're contacted, they have what your ability to be able to intervene, where that stands.
Okay, so just in the brief synopsis is, as long as the zone, after zoning was done, as long as developer adheres to those criteria, then they have the right to rent property, long-term rentals. We don't have any jurisdiction over that. And unless they initially come in like some of the recent townhome community and says there's just a portion for rent, then that's the only, I guess, any kind of authority that we have.
Imposing the covenant is
rental.
your authority. Enforcing it would be their place to do that.
Okay, all righty. Thank you so much. You have anything else, City Manager?
No, ma'am, that's all.
Thank you so much. Staff reports. We have a presentation of, and this is Council Member Chris Watts' committee. So I'll just let you read it, Councilman Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
One item under staff reports, a presentation of Human Resources Department Quarterly Report. Ms. Austin Bing, I believe, is going to do that tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. Tia Austin Bing, Human Resources, 6695 Church Street. Thank you for the opportunity tonight. I asked my staff to come down. They've been instrumental in helping to prepare this report tonight. Dr. Brian Westfield and Krista Smith. We are short-staffed in HR, but we're going to get through this and present to you fiscal year and calendar year 2020 information. At any time during this presentation, if you'd like me to stop, you can do that. And then also we have the presentation on the screen if you don't want to particularly review them on your iPads. So either way, and for the audience as well. So let me see. Getting it set up.
Core values, there you go.
All right, I think I can click it. I think I can. If not, I'll just ask Community Relations to advance the next slide if that's okay. Okay. Oh. I turned it off, I thought, sorry.
50 cents.
Okay, I think it's a delay on this clicker, but all right, we're gonna try it. Okay, if you all will advance the slide for me. Appreciate that. If you could go to the core value slide. Thank you so much. So Madam Mayor and Council, these are our core values. As you may be aware, we started this campaign in 2020. We wanted to highlight, thank you. We wanted to highlight what our core values were for the city of Douglasville. They're often stated on our website. We wanted to make sure that we honed in on this from a human resources perspective. Integrity, professionalism, respect, fairness, leadership, innovation, and in transparency. Also with this campaign, we've recognized several of our City of Douglasville employees and supervisors for these characteristics, and we will continue this campaign in 2021. The next slide is our mission statement, which reads, Human Resources Department administers human resources, safety, benefits, and risk management programs. I'm also responsible for developing, implementing, and coordinating policies and programs covering employment, labor relations, including wage and salary administration, employee indoctrination, training, placement, safety, health benefits, and other employee services. So this is our mission statement. All right, the next slide is our departmental responsibilities: talent management, employee relations, benefits administration, compensation and classification, training and development, health and wellness, safety and risk management, policy and procedure, and legal compliance. There are other competencies of human resources to include things such as retirement administration, but these are our core functions that we handle here at the City of Douglasville. Next slide is our HR organizational chart. You will see the hierarchy as it relates to our department with the Human Resources Director, with direct reports from the Human Resources Manager, Benefits Specialist, Administrative Assistant, and with a Human Resources Generalist now reporting to the Human Resources Manager. Madam Mayor, this is one change that we've made for 2021. Our current priorities: recruitment and selection of citywide vacancies. Currently, we have 23 vacancies, and these do not include the police department. New performance management implementation program that will be rolled out for this year to eliminate paper performance evaluations and move to electronics. We're excited about that. Wellness Center Phase 2. We will be closing out year 1 in May of our Wellness Center. We plan, if it's feasible for our dependents, our employees to go on, to be able to visit the Wellness Center, and then also to develop some high-risk programs that focus on employee wellness. The Carl Vinson Institute of Government Training and Education Program for 2021. We will start those trainings in March of this year. Another priority is our merit pay program for 2021. We're fortunate enough to have that again this year for our employees who have performed well. We've already dived into summer recruitment. That includes our summer internship program and Parks and Recreation camp program. And then our last priority here to mention is compliance standards as it relates to verifying employment eligibility for our city employees, personnel file compliance, as well as COVID-19 compliance. Our next slide is our nationwide 457B statistics to date. This is a 3-year look back for the mayor and council to view to see how our employees are signing up for our 457B plan. If you will see 2019, we had about 131 employees that were in the plan, 2020, 138, and about the same for 2021 at 136. Our next slide just breaks out our participation. And so what you will see is 52% of the employees enrolled in the plan are actively deferring into the plan. 43% are not currently deferring, but they do have balances. And then 5% have active loans currently. This next slide shows the plan assets in millions. So again, a 3-year look back, you will see for 2019, the plan assets combined 5.2 million, for 2020, 4.2, and then an increase for 2020 in plans, which we like to see that. And I did dig into these statistics with Nationwide, and these the increase was due to managed accounts through Nationwide. And so what that means is there are dedicated staff that are assigned to the City of Douglasville employees that will help them manage their plan versus not helping them manage their plan. It's like financial management. That service is included with our plan. And so more of our employees for 2020 were driven to that tool. There was an advertisement and push for it as well, and also combined with the market. And so this is where we are for our employees. So this is a great slide. Next slide, workers' compensation. So this slide will show you how many lost days of work we've had this fiscal year from all of our employees that had injuries, 69 total lost days with 8 open claims. And our gross paid this fiscal year is $68,516.13. I would be remiss if I did not mention this number is $100,000 down than the last time I reported to you all. So we are currently plugging our risk management and safety procedures and trainings. Happy to see that number. I just will tell you, when I first started with you all, it was about $500,000. So just want to let you know we've made great strides in workers' compensation, recovery, return to work. All of that is just a testament to our risk program. So we're excited about that. The next slide is our statistics on the offer process to the hiring the first day. So you will see this is a slide that kind of has some fluctuation, and we wanted to present these stats are fairly new for us, but our goal is to be less than 30 days in our offer to hire, and that takes into account candidates who may have to give a 2-week notice, things of that nature. So currently we're at 17 days between the offer and the hire. New hires for fiscal year 21 is a total of 30. And you will see this graph breaks it down by departments with police, parks and rec, public services, finance, and community development. The next slide is our interview stats. This we have been tracking since 2020 so that we could see how many of our candidates were actually showing up, no showing, or for whatever reason we wanted to track that so that we could find out what we may need to change about our recruitment efforts. But currently we're at 96% of candidates selected for interviews were present. The next slide is employee type. So you will see in the blue, 89% of our employees are full-time and 11% of our employees are part-time. The next slide is gender, with 64% male and 36% female. The next slide is veteran status. The blue shaded area is 85% for non-veterans and 15% for veterans, and we'll have a little bit more information to come on what we're doing as it relates to our veteran recruitment. Race. So this graph breaks down all of our categories that we're tracking here at the city with 66%, pardon me, 60% white and 34% African-American, and all other categories are listed. Next slide is age. Again, another graph breakdown with ages 50 to 59 being our majority. We're at 23%, and then to follow is age 20 to 29 with 22%, and so on and so forth. Excuse me. Next slide. Education. So this year we've had a new category that we wanted to highlight, and just to make sure that we drill down to this as we were asked to, so that it's clear for you all. This graph shows 42% of our employees have a high school diploma, 23% with a bachelor's degree, 13% with some college, 11% with an associate's degree, 9% with a graduate, 1% with a Juris Doctor, and another 1% with a doctorate degree. Next slide is seniority or length of service. Again, here you will see in the green, 48% of our employees are fairly new, less than 5 years. And following behind that with 23% with 5 to 9 years. Our next slide is our first year attrition. Again, this is something new that we've been tracking to see for the fiscal year. Out of our separated employees, how many of those have been here less than 1 year? The goal is to be less than 50%, which is industry standard. And so how this breaks down is 14 of the 43 separated employees left in their first year, which is 33%. So we're below industry standard. May I please point out that on this slide, the at, greater than and at, less than sign is inverted. So just wanted to point that out. 33% is the goal, and we've made that. This slide, again, as it relates to separation, breaks down our departments as it relates to voluntary and involuntary. So the orange is voluntary and the blue is involuntary. And we always want the blue to be less than the orange. Turnover this year is down from fiscal year 20. There is no data yet available from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. We will have that updated probably on the next report. However, we are at 15% this fiscal year, and industry trend is to be less than 19%. The next slide is our employee assistance program with Tanner Engage EAP. And this utilization report shows out of our 280 employees, we have 19 new cases that are being seen for EAP services, and total contact hours, 62 total hours of EAP. These contact hours doubled this year. More employees are using EAP, and I'm sure with work-life balance and other things that have been brought on by the pandemic, I'm sure this is why these numbers have doubled. And then the next slide breaks down just particular reasons that our employees are using our EAP program. This is, to be reminded, a free service, a benefit that the city offers to our employees. You'll see things like personal stress, emotional, marital, and work stress are some of the pie. Next slide is our medical claims. So you will see fluctuation in calendar year 20 with rounding out the year in November. At 460,000 in claims, large claims. The next slide shows our pharmacy claims. Again, a fluctuation for 20, but rounding out the year with November stats at 50,000 in pharmacy claims. The next slide is our loss ratio. And so basically what that is trying to stay below a certain percentage for premiums versus claims. The trend right now still is 75% or less. However, we do have some large claims for 2020, and we round out the year at 160% in our loss ratio. Our next slide is covered lives. And what that means is how many employees are taking advantage of each plan that we have. You will see a breakdown of Anthem, our retirement medical plan with Humana, dental, vision, all combined, we are covering 1,441 lives on our insurance plans. Fiscal year 21 highlights for HR are that we have been in 100% compliance with federal and state pandemic regulations. Also, our partnership with Department of Public Health and assisting and partnering with COVID-19 guidelines. Enhanced federal wellness program. Financial wellness program. Atlanta Business Chronicle's Healthiest Employer Award. We placed 4th again this year. City facilitated job fairs, and that's on-site and virtual. And then our veteran recruitment outreach initiative that we implemented for 2020, which has contacts with several Georgia forts for job postings, as well as the Army Officers Association. Thank you, Dr. Westfield, for that. And then the last slide is just our mantra. Basically, we are HR. So I'll take any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Austin Bing. Anybody have any questions about the presentation? Yes, Madam Mayor.
I do. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Ms. Austin Bean and your team. We appreciate everything you do. You all are kind of like infrastructure when we build things that you don't see a lot of times that's under the foundation, but really keeps everything together. So thank you for doing that with payroll and benefits and all of those things that are intricate to the city of Douglasville. I know you all have not taken a break at all during the pandemic. You never stopped. You've been moving forward, even with the changes in your staff. So you're to be commended. Thank you so much for everything that you've done. I do have a really quick question about EAP. I've just had some concerns come to me about diversity in those services for staff and the physicians and the psychologists and all of that, and location of the services. So do we have any updates on that, or how does that work?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your concern. We did, department did discuss that last year when we were during open enrollment. Mm-hmm. And I do have some recommendations and I don't want to say quotes for other EAP services that are popular within the government sector. In May, when we get ready to go, pretty much start going out for bid and looking at who our partners will be for 2021, I will be bringing those recommendations to the city manager. I actually have it, just waiting to at the appropriate time to be able to start diving into that. And with the diversity concern in mind, and I did ask that question in the vetting process. So hopefully if it's the pleasure of the mayor and council at that time, if you want to dive more into those or have any presentations, we can do that. But I do have that noted and have begun some initial research into any other EAP programs that will provide more services and have more diverse counselors.
Okay.
So we are working on that. Yes, ma'am.
Very good. And the well care center, we didn't see any really statistics about that and how that's going. I know it's a great support for us as well, medical support.
Yes, ma'am. You will have those statistics on Friday at your planning retreat. We are nearing year 1, but I will be having more information to share with you on Friday when I do the HR presentation. That is included. And so you'll be able to see the population of the health population of our employees, what the areas are of concern, how well we're doing, and just any other information that you may want to ask at that time. That will be coming to you on Friday. I will say that the Wellness Center is doing really very well. Out of all the clients that Care Here has here in Georgia, our scores are the highest. And the feedback, we get feedback on a weekly basis, as well as we're partnering with them daily, contacting them, just making sure that, any needs are met. If we have to have any appointments that weren't already scheduled, that we're, doing what we can to make sure our employees are being seen. It is nearing year 1 for the Wellness Center. And so in May, we will have some type of ROI viewpoint to bring to you all as it relates to claims, as it relates to utilization, and just how we move forward. But I will dive more into that Friday at the planning retreat.
Thank you so much, Ms. Austin Bean. And I'll tell the council members, I thought, the Wellness Center was going to be like the Grim Reaper when they asked to do all that blood work, but they do really diagnostic, and they give you back a sheet or a packet that you can take to your primary care physician, and it tells all of your organs and all of that. It was really a great experience. It was good to know that information. So I know that is really, it helps during this time of COVID, especially being a medical situation. So thank you so much, Ms. Austin Bean. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Anybody else have any questions for Ms. Austin Bean? Comments? Any of you guys on virtually? Councilman Estes, Councilman Miller?
No questions at this time, I think.
I'm good as well. Thank you to Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Austin Bean, for that presentation, and appreciate your leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Great job. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we do have comments from citizens and delegates, that portion of the agenda, and I apologize. We have 2 citizens, Ms. Lorraine Williams and Sanya Eunice.
Only Ms. Eunice is online.
Ms. Eunice, okay. Ms. Eunice, if you could please give us your name and address for the record, and you have 5 minutes to address the council on any pending or potential city business for the city of Douglasville.
Pleasant good evening. My name is Sanya Eunice, located at 7266 Chantilly Court, Douglasville 30134. Thank you all for the opportunity to have this available to the citizens of City of Douglasville so we could participate online and still be a part of what's happening in the city. I appreciate it. My main matter of business that I wanted to bring forward this evening was concerning our Keeping Douglasville Beautiful, having moved from the city of Smyrna back in 2009. And since the pandemic, one of my concerns is in regards to our recycling and our trash pickup. And I understand that, I want to say since March, we've only had pickup once, and that was, I want to say, back in May. And since then, prior to speaking with recycling and trash waste management, I've been informed that what we need to do with our recycling items, whether it's glass or the regular plastics and cardboards, what is actually approved was to actually dispose of it in the trash. And so that's one of the concerns that I wanted to bring to the city of Douglasville, as I know we are trying to keep on top of things and be forward thinking, and as we are trying to take care of our planet as well, and the city and Douglasville and Douglas County and how we move forward. That's a concern of mine. And I wanted to bring it to the council's attention to see if that's something that we can potentially plan out or have a better plan for. And then the other matter that I wanted to bring forward was regarding signage for the city of Douglasville. And just looking at our map the other day and just driving throughout the county, I noticed that there aren't much signage up around locations that are specifically city of Douglasville. And I was wondering whether or not that is something that we've looked into, we've considered doing, or if it's just a certain area of Douglasville, specific to the city of Douglasville, that we actually have decided to put proper signage up in. And those were the two areas that I wanted to bring before you all this evening. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Ms. Eunice. And I will address both of those items and maybe have staff to elaborate if I've negated to say something. The recycling, we are going to revisit recycling and those services at our planning retreat this week, actually, Thursday and Friday, to talk about that service. It is under our Maintenance and Sanitation and Public Works Department. We did suspend recycling during COVID because for the employee safety, they had to actually touch the materials. And so that's when we opted to have, and we did have a COVID outbreak in our Public Works Department. So in conjunction with the safety aspect to our employees, there is a cost that recycling is really, has gone up astronomically. So we are trying to look at how we can provide that service to the citizens this week during our planning session, the Mayor and Council's planning session. Do you want to add anything, City Manager?
No, ma'am, that's correct. We're going to be speaking to you all about a date to commence, how to commence, and what that looks like for you all if we are to continue doing that service.
Thank you so much. Now, Ms. Eunice, did you say that you didn't have your normal trash picked up since May, or you're just referencing recycling?
Actually, we did have a moment that trash was not picked up. I want to say it was probably 2 months, but thereafter we got back on schedule. And so trash is picked up. What's not picked up since May was the recycling. So one of the things I've done is I've been driving some of my recycling over to the city of Smyrna because I telephoned them and they are operational, though their business hours have shifted, they're open. And they actually have a glass recycling process in place. And so I drive all my glass over to them as well, because I don't think it's conducive to throw our glass in our trash. So that's one of the things I've been doing regarding recycling.
Yes, ma'am. So we don't pick up glass. Go ahead, Ms. City Manager.
No, ma'am. And I think you're referring to a facility in Smyrna that's run by them that allows you to bring your recycling materials there. Is that what you're speaking of, ma'am?
Actually, the city of Smyrna proper, they have their recycling center.
Correct. Yes, ma'am. We don't own a facility like that. So we're a little bit different, but I know what you're familiar with. I know what you're mentioning. But I'm going to look into your trash pickup. We do have your address, so I'm forwarding that to the Public Services Director as we speak.
Yes, ma'am. And there was a one lapsed week because we did, again, we had a COVID outbreak in our Public Works Department. So we did suspend trash just for 1 week in the city, and we apologize, and we adjusted your rate schedule for all the citizens because we missed a week because of COVID, and we couldn't have the employees. We didn't have enough employees to do the trash run, sanitation run. So that was the first one. And then the other issue that you mentioned about recycling. What was the other one? I had it written down.
She's mentioning signage.
Oh,
Madam
signage.
Mayor. Yes, ma'am.
I cannot forget about that. So which areas are you referring to, Ms. Eunice, about signage? Because we do have a signage program, but could you tell me in particular?
Certainly. Typically, what I find when I'm driving throughout the counties is when you actually reach the city of fill in the blank, you'll see signage that says you've entered, or city of, for example, Douglasville. And so just looking at the map, I've noticed I rarely see those signs. I see them in some areas. So in particular, when you first come over the railroad track, I believe there's a sign right there. I know there's a split off 92 as you continue going, but throughout the city, if you're considering as you pick up Cave Spring Road or even Maroney and some other locales, you don't see the signage at all. And so even in my conversation with Waste Management on last week, I was reminded that actually I am in the city of Douglasville proper. And I said, well, that is something of concern, because as far as signage is concerned, it is not something that you really see throughout Douglas County, where the city of Douglasville is concerned. So that's what I'm speaking to specifically.
Okay, so maybe I'll have to drive with the Public Works Director, which I do periodically, to check on our signs. We do have several signs up, and maybe when you're driving, if you live here for a long time, you may not see them, but they're green and they have white letters on Fairburn, not Fairburn Road, but yes, on Fairburn Road, there's one when you leave the police department, Highway, Veterans Memorial Highway near Bankhead Diner, near the gymnastics place on Highway 5, near the Publix. So you just have to kind of look for those signs. They're green with white letters. It says entering the city of Douglasville, or so. But City Manager, if you can talk, and we do have a signage program where we're going to have signage on Highway 92 and I-20 in the New Horizons area, in the area where you live, and other places will have more signage. But the City Manager can address that as well as our staff.
Yes, ma'am. I think that's what she's referring to, Madam Mayor, is wayfinding signage. So she's probably thinking about in Smyrna, where there is a tremendous amount of wayfinding. You all have a plan, and you've started with I-20 at Fairburn Road, and you're looking at some of your other city facilities. Typical plans like that, the estimated cost is somewhere close to about $2 million. So as you all are building in your SPLOS program, those are things that we're doing, as well as looking at facilities. So I'm pretty certain that's what she's referring to as wayfinding.
So wayfinding signs. So did you hear, Mrs. Eunice, about the?
I did hear that, yes.
Thank you so much. You've brought some great information to us that we'll follow up with. Staff is going, our city manager has your information, and she will follow through with you. But thank you for bringing those things to our attention. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you all for what you're doing and for your time. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Have a good evening. Thank you. So the other citizen is not on the line anymore?
She's not.
Okay. Thank you so much, City Manager. Do we have any other business before I make put on the floor a motion to go into executive session from council members? Okay, well, I will open the floor for a motion to adjourn into executive session to discuss a personnel matter.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Adams. I have a motion. Is there a second, please? Thank you, Councilman Davis. It's been properly moved and second to adjourn into executive session to discuss a personnel matter after a 5-minute recess. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. We are in executive session after a 5-minute recess.